That's not a zebra, that's a giraffe.
Hey guys, welcome back to WTF with your host Austin, Devin, and myself, Brian.
And Brian.
And Brian.
In case you know.
Little disclaimer on this episode. There's a lot of different opinions at this table. Each one of us come from different experiences, different backgrounds when dealing with retail. So take it with a grain of salt. Each one of us is going to have our own little spin on the subject. So what Austin says might not be my feelings and vice versa. So keep that in mind, guys, when watching this episode.
And this also doesn't reflect any opinions of any companies, corporations, and or stores. This is us just shooting the shit.
As airsoft.
As airsofters, yes. Looking out for you guys. Okay, hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get started. First off, this is our 4th episode. Hope you guys saw the other one. We'll link it up somewhere or in the description below.
And thanks for the support so far.
Yes, thank you.
The video's been great.
Okay, let's start with small potatoes first. You went to the swap meet and you deal with people on buy-sell trade groups. I see only a fraction of that, but what do you deal with? Just lay it out.
It's pretty frustrating sometimes. Sometimes you get great buyers. You see a lot of the scammers, like, oh, beware this seller, but you never really see beware this buyer. And there's a couple people on the buy-sell trades that are notorious for this. I get PMs all the time when I post things for sale, and they're like, oh, that's a really good deal. And it's like, thanks, would you like to buy it? Oh, no, I don't have money. I just was telling you how great of a deal it is. Okay, thank you. And then it's like, can I get a shooting video of it? Are you interested in buying it? Yeah, maybe. And then I give them a shooting video, and they're like, oh, that's super awesome. It's like, okay, so are you going to buy it? No, I don't have money. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you. And then it's like, I price things to sell pretty cheap, and then people are like, well, can I get this for $120? And it's like, no, I already gave you my price. And it's like, well, it's a really good deal, but I only have $120. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't sell it to you. And they're like, oh, okay. Or like people will try to offer me like ridiculous guns. And then like I had a snooty guy offer me a gun for my pistol, and I'm like, no, thank you. And he's like, haha, you're stupid. And it's like, okay, thank you very much. But like the swap meet today, as you saw, people are like, oh, this is awesome. I would really like to buy this. Okay, how much do you have? Oh, I don't have money.
And the guy kept coming back over and over and over. I'm sitting there editing the video for the PCAM at ITS, and it's just like, the kid kept coming over, and it's like, you know, we're not trying to be mean or anything, but it's just like, if you want to buy it, and if you don't, just ask your questions all at once. Don't circle around, you know.
And if you don't have money to buy it, it's like, if you have no intentions of buying it, don't waste the seller's time. Like, I mean, window shoppers are pretty bad. Like, I understand getting information. If you're asking information to understand something, but if you're asking specifically, like, I don't know how many shooting videos I've done for people that have later told me, well, I don't have money, but I hope you sell it. And it's like, thanks for being nice, but you're kind of wasting my time here. Like,
it gets frustrating. And I see it too, like a lot of people on Facebook, and it's just...
Yeah, secondhand market's always been kind of a crapshoot for me. As a seller, I can't stand it. I will never sell my stuff to people I don't know or don't trust. As far as buying, though, I'm really hesitant with guns because I don't know how many miles per se have been through it, and I'll only really buy stuff I know I can't buy new. If I see a Systema or whatever on some high-end trade-up shenanigans, and I really want to get a Systema for some reason, or a Polar Star, something really high-end, and it seems to be in decent condition, I'll pick it up. Or even Boneyard guns. I picked up a Boneyard AK for a build I'm doing, and I got that for dirt cheap. So for stuff that's either in really good condition and hard to get, and stuff that's in really shitty condition, like buying secondhand is perfect for me. But I'm not a tremendous fan of selling secondhand, which I think seems to be the overall consensus.
Well, what I've noticed, like when you picked up that AK, you said, hey, I have this, I need parts, can you get these? I'm like, yeah, I can find those. And like, I see this all the time, like on my Facebook page, people are like, should I get this? And it's kind of like, it bugs me when, as the buyer, like say a kid, I'm just going to call a kid, like teenager or whatever, he's going to walk into a store or walk into a sales pitch not knowing anything and can get ripped off, and then create that, oh, this person's scamming. It's like, but no, you didn't know what you're getting into. Like say if you bought that AK and like, this is junk, and it's like, if you look at the pictures, you notice no pistol grip, no dust cover, but you kind of like, you looked at it and you kind of like, oh, I'm going to do some research, and like, I just need this done, and then you contact me or someone else, and you're set. So it's kind of like you have to give that information, but don't look like a dummy. Because then if you do, you get ripped off, or you don't understand what you're getting into, and then you're like, oh, it's the seller's fault, not mine. Because it's never the customer's fault, never. So,
too many stories based on that.
Yeah.
I've had in retail side, I've sold new products, brand new in box, but they just happen to be on closeout for whatever reason, whether we're overstocked on them or we're just not going to carry the products for some reason. We'll sell them on closeout, and sometimes some of the brands are not the best, in my opinion. So we've sold stuff before, and people have been like, "Oh, this isn't the gun I thought it was going to be." When they're comparing, their $100 closeout gun to a $300, high-end gun, and then they come in all disgruntled like it's our fault when we gave them the disclaimer it's a closeout gun, and it requires a little bit more attention to detail, maybe some upgrade parts to get it up and running smoothly, and that it's just so stressful to deal with customers like that, especially when they come in, they're angry, they're frustrated. We're just trying to alleviate that stress.
Well, that's why I always recommend and tell people, buy from the local store. You can walk to the store, you can pick up the gun, you're like, oh, this is metal. And some websites, they don't specify if this is metal or plastic.
Is your Polar Star metalist?
But it's just kind of like, if you walk into a retail store, you can pick up the gun and see it if it's sturdy or flimsy, And if you're buying online, you're not going to have it luxury unless you check one site and then you're like, well, there's missing information. You check another site, and it's just this whole circle of just like...
Or go on YouTube and type in gun name review and have to go through tons of videos greatly differing in quality.
A lot of the videos, like I've noticed a lot of the younger kids doing unboxing, they will do the whole magnet test and like, oh, this is metal, this is plastic, but then they say it's junk, so other people watch this, they're like, it's a junk gun, I'm not going to buy it. But there's too much, I guess, false information out there that makes it hard for the buyers. And it's like, I don't know, we're kind of getting off topic. But
yeah, we're going a little too deep. We're in too deep, man.
Yeah.
Well, this leads us up to our topic of tonight, which is big stores versus little stores.
Yes. Well, I will say, from what I've seen, like on Facebook and how I interact with people, a lot, and like in person, Facebook, phone calls, emails, everything. This is probably going to piss off a lot of people, but this is off time, so I can speak on public things that everybody else can hear. There's no trade secrets or anything. It really bugs me when people, I don't know,
Airsoft voodoo.
No, a lot of people get butthurt when stuff like saying shit. But it really bugs me. One thing that really bugs me, good friends at SS Airsoft. This is going to be a shout out to basically good stores. We're not going to trash talk the bad stores. Bad stores, they don't need any more press. Good stores need press. Bugs me because no one ever gives a shout out like, this store's awesome, I like that store. They always say, store's stupid.
Well, they'll do it if they give them free stuff.
Yes. No, but what really bugs me is for SS Airsoft event, go there every year. They have basically their store and field in a bubble of close-knit community people. And for this event, this kid's like, Brian, what should I buy? Should I buy this gun from eBay or this gun from GI? It's cheaper than inside. And I look at him just like, are you serious? And it's just like, it really bugs me when people do that. And it's like, you're going to there. It's like you're going to, I'm going to go to your party. Hey, your party kind of sucks. Can you go order me pizza? It's like, don't do that. Support your local store, because if that little kid's going to play and his money doesn't go to SS Airsoft, which goes into their field to keep it painted, to run the lights. I don't know if you guys seen SS Airsoft, but they put a lot of time and money, effort into that field. And if they don't have that resource, it's just going to be plywood and cardboard, and it's just like, that's shitty. And the Airsoft kids don't realize that. They I save $5, but then it comes down to, you save $5,
but then you also have nowhere to play.
Yeah, you have nowhere to play. But even better, you have to pay $25 for shipping or something like that. Or if
wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, or if it shows up wrong, you're like, Mom, they ordered. And then that mom will call and like, my son called and I don't know what happened. And it's this whole thing of just
Something about a
Well,
BB gun.
Well, I've never been to SS. Do they have a walk-in store? Or is
Yes.
it like it's a full walk-in store?
basically you can
So,
walk
so the kid was. I'm calling him a kid because you called him a kid.
in. He was like maybe 10, 14. I mean,
So the kid was too lazy to walk maybe 15 feet into the walk-in store and be like, "There's the gun I want. It's $15 more, but it's here right now."
yeah.
Wow. Like, and this is something I experienced firsthand. Like you said, the shout out to the stores. Like, I came from the Midwest, so like, I'm gonna give a shout out to the Bingfield / shop, and it's like all the guns were right there. The guy who runs it, Chris, he's a really good businessman, and he listens to the players. Like, when he opened up the Bingfield, or when he was about to open up the Bingfield, he let a bunch of players go out there and check out the land and play on it and see how we liked the land that he was going to open up. And every time players go in and give him suggestions, like, he'll let the players sit down with them and it's like, hey, I would really like a field that looks like this. He gets it done. He'll go out there and he uses the money of the players. So like, he's investing back into people who his customers.
They're going to use it.
Yeah, so if you're buying from Evike, they're not getting your money. So you're giving Evike the money, and now your local field is not getting the money to put into the field. So if you want to complain about your field and say, "Oh, it's just dirt and BBs everywhere," it's because you're not patronizing your field or giving them your money.
Mhm.
You're going somewhere else, and a lot of times, like, it's even better. Like, I would rather go into a store, be able to hold the gun, check it out, and buy it and take it home that day, instead of ordering it and then waiting like a week to get it, only to find out I got the wrong gun, or that it's different than it looked like in the picture. Because they hire photographers like they do restaurants to make the gun look so cool, and then when you actually hold it, it's different. Maybe it feels different. Maybe it looks sturdy in a picture, but you hold it and it's the creakiest thing you've ever felt.
Or have YouTube personalities say it's the greatest thing ever
Yeah.
when it could or couldn't.
When
be.
every week a new gun is the greatest gun ever. That's
I'm a little biased on this subject because I work at a small shop. I work at Tsunami Airsoft in Orange. That is my shout out for this video. But I've always been conflicted on this. I've been in airsoft for a while, and I've shopped both big and small local retailers. I've shopped at many brick and mortar places, many online websites. And the thing that is hard for a lot of people, that I think, is what if you're in an area that doesn't have a huge airsoft community, and it's not very developed, and there aren't any walk-in stores, and you have no other options? Like, what do? Do you not play airsoft? Do you drive 3 counties over to go to a walk-in store, or do you just sit in your pajamas and order online?
Well, I can answer that question. I've gone, it's a tricky story, but I've gone, I'm going to say, out of my way for Vermont area, trying to set up and everything. That didn't work. Went out there twice. Worked with, I don't know what state they're in, Outlaw Airsoft, sent them a bunch of BBs and stuff for their event, in hopes to make kind of like people like, oh, this is a cool field, let's go here, and they kind of congregate, and then someone will have the bright idea like, I should open like a store maybe, or like order stuff like wholesale, sell out of my garage, or like a trailer, go to these fields. There are a lot of basically business people that will have a trailer stock full of stuff, and they will go to this, and then maybe if they generate enough sales, they can have a brick and mortar store. But you have to like kind of pool together, and not just like, I'm just going to order online.
Yeah.
You need like basically teamwork. You have a team, and then you have a group, and it's just tricky.
And a lot of things I see where shops fall short at is they'll buy a few guns. They won't do any research. They just buy whatever guns they see are cheap. They don't carry any extra parts for it. For example, right now I live down the street from a little mom pop paintball airsoft store. They have maybe 4 airsoft guns on the wall. They're lower end guns. They have no parts, nothing like that. And every time I go in there, I'm like, oh, cool. I'd like to buy some BBs or something. And they're like, how can we make our airsoft expand? Like, it's not selling very much. And it's like, that's because you're not carrying what the kids want. You need to know what the kids want. You need to do research.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you sell parts make up almost 50% of your profit right there.
Yep.
So if something breaks, you have parts. And like, that's one thing I noticed, like the Bing shop, they have all sorts of parts, all sorts of accessories, camouflage, stuff like that. It's a one-stop shop. So it eliminates the need of going to different stores. Everything's right there. You're thinking about the player. If you're just like, I'm going to buy a few guns and sell them. That's not the right mindset, especially if you're buying guns that nobody wants. You're just sitting on the wall and nobody's going to buy them. You wasted your money. Whereas if you listen to what the customer wants, like a lot of, if you notice the shops that succeed, like the mom and pop shops that succeed, they listen to the players, they take the input, and because that is their business, they invest into their business. So that's one thing I see a lot of companies fall short is they're just all about the money and they pay no attention to the players.
Mm-hmm.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I would say shout out to Strike Force in Long Island. They basically do that. The one thing I noticed, which is kind of weird, because back in the day, I worked at Comet Quarters, small little store in Loma Linda, California. We had a massive parts wall. This was early 2000, and we would show all their parts, like, oh, this is what you can buy, upgrade, and everything. But at Strike Force, they don't have that. Basically, their motto is, you know, you come in with a broken gun, or if you want to upgrade, we will use our judgment, make it better. And they don't really do like that whole upsell, oh, you need to get a new cylinder head. It's like most stock guns have a perfect cylinder head. You don't need to do all this. They're like, hey, this is the bare minimum, this is what you need. So they do take advantage of, not take advantage, that's wrong, but they do take advantage. They
do take advantage. No, they do. Oh.
What I mean is they understand what the player wants. Like talking to Jesse and Dan, they're like, hey, this is what the player wants. Like you can kind of like as a salesperson, you can see what kind of budget people have. You know, if a kid walks in, oh, I want this Polarstar, but you know, I don't have this money. Or a kid's like, hey,
the most common one is, what's the hardest shooting gun for $100?
Yeah.
Or what's the best AEG for like $150? And it is hard to fit that budget.
Yeah.
But you can make things happen.
But I noticed they are able to do that. A lot of kids are happy, like playing on the field, talking to them. All these kids are happy compared to back in the day where a kid would come in and I'm like, well, you can get this gear set, you can do this, and I would spend all this time. But instead, they were able to crank out upgrades. I would see them like in the back talking to them, crank out upgrades and everything while this is going on. Instead of that whole window shopping thing, they just say, hey, you want this? Okay, boom, done. You know, I think that's good, and it comes down to mom and pop. They don't really have an online presence too much. They do, but they don't have like this massive reach. But they have that area in lockdown, and it's just like the kids go to them because you just have to go there and see it.
Yeah.
Another thing too with the shops falling short is they will try to open a field to meet players' demands, but they won't invest in the field. They just open it and they assume, hey, we have a shop, we have a field, give us your money. And like you go to a field that's owned by a shop or whatever, or you know, a shop/field, you go there and it's just like the refs have no idea what's going on. The time in between games is like 2 hours because the refs just sitting there on their phone. You have constant complaints of cheaters, fights, whatever. You know, guns go down. They don't know what to do. They can't help you, anything like that. Like, but then like going back to the Bing shop, the Bing field. Like I've had bad days there, and it's like, man, I'm having a really crappy day. And Chris actually came up to me and gave me a free bag of BBs. So it's like, oh, you know, this is really cool. You know, it's like you see that somebody's having a bad time at your place. This is your business, and here you go. Here's a hookup. You know, like
I saw that happen at Strike Force. Kid was having a bad day, like here you go, or free passes for next time. You know,
yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
You know, and it comes down to walk-in stores and fields. You have that because you have that one-on-one interaction. Online, they're like, oh, your order number 592.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get your package? Okay, done. I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah, we don't have a field that's Tsunami. It's just a store. But we still have, I personally, I'm speaking for myself, I try to have really good relations with my customers just because some of them are really cool guys. They come in, they're just like, hey, what's new? And I show them the new products we got in, or like, you know, oh, we got these new hop-up buckings. It's like, oh, are they better than like this one or this one? And I basically talk about the pros and cons, educate them. I don't work on commission. I don't really care if they buy anything other than the fact that I want a job the next week and I want the store to continue to be open. Yeah. But I have pretty good relationships with a lot of the customers. I just came back from SC Village today after going out and playing with a few of them and having a grand old time. So you can meet friends from working and going to these small retail shops. You never know. I know that there could be bad ones out there. Obviously, there's bad everything out there, but you go to a small retail shop, it might be like your next cool hangout. Go kick it for a couple hours on a Saturday when there's nothing to do. talk about BB wars, war stories, eat some beef jerky, have a good time.
Yeah.
Sleeping bag.
Sleeping bag.
What?
Exactly.
Me and Austin have our own language.
You've obviously never milsimmed.
This
I
is
milled
getting
some
off
once.
topic.
It was okay.
I feel like we're getting into the milsim topic.
So.
Someone ought to give this man a medal.
Did he fall down?
We're gonna have to edit that out.
Bullshit. Shots fired.
No, that's fine. Okay, well that was. I thought it was going to be more heated. Maybe I'm just tired of the rock stars.
We can make it heated right now.
Yeah, you
Okay, let's go into the bad things. The bad things.
Negative experiences.
The bad thing that really bugs me and my job line of what I do, I basically have to calm down people. Good example, earlier this week, the kid buys a gun, he plays with it, he goes to a field, has problems, and instead of him calling me at work to get it taken care of, or calling the store, he goes to the field to have them try to fix it. And then the field like upgrades it or does something and it's still not having problems. Then he goes to the store and complains about this field, who the field's like, I'm just going to upgrade this. The store's like, nope, you already voided the warranty. And then they said, they wash their hands of that and they send them to me. So I get this phone call. This kid is angry at me. And I'm like, did you know about our warranty or anything? He's like, no. And it's just like, so I have to basically take this kid, or sometimes it's adults, and calm them down because the stores just push them away. And that really bugs me. But then I have to do my hardest to calm them down and then usually fix it. And it's something simple that, like usually a 20-minute phone call.
Hop up nub fix.
Either hop up nub or dead battery. That really pisses me off. The stores that are going to say, oh, your gun's broken, send it in. And it's just like, just troubleshoot. Spend 3 minutes to troubleshoot. If the gun clicks, try a friend's battery. You know, for the love of God, if you send that kid a battery and he's like, Mom, Dad, my gun's fixed, I'm going to go play. That kid's happy, they will buy from you. But if you say, oh, done, we got your money, haha, and then they have to come to me, and then I'm like, okay, did you check a battery? You know, and then it's a battery, I'm like, okay, I'll send out the battery, and it takes longer and everything because it's like this whole email chain. Because kids, you know, when I say kids, like from preteen to high school kids, if they're told email something, it's like homework, like, I don't want to do homework. So then they lag, and then they don't get that battery, they don't get that email, and it turns into a week of no airsofting, no going with the friends, and that turns into no money going to the local field or the store to buy BBs, and it's just this whole clusterfuck. Because people are too fucking lazy. And it really pisses me off. And then I have to calm them down. And then it's just like, this could have been avoided.
Or another problem is you get the wannabe techs who have no idea what they're doing. They're like, oh, I'll help. And then they break the gun even worse. And then now they void the warranty because they wanted to help you fix your gun. And then they do like angry Facebook posts about how terrible it is because somebody broke your gun. So I've seen that happen once or twice with little wannabe techs that just, they lurk the field. Like, they don't even go and play. They just sit in the corner all day, like the dark corner, and then somebody's gun goes down, and they're like, yes. And they're like, oh, I'll fix that. Everybody else sucks. And then they're just like hitting it with a hammer, and they're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. So, I see that a lot, too.
Yeah. Well, I see the bigger picture of getting the kids on the field playing, you know.
Why do you always call them kids?
Because I'm tall and I'm old.
No.
From a buyer's perspective, though, like, this goes back to shops investing in their business. You go in, like, I've had a few times where I'd go and I'd be like interested in a gun, and I'd be like, oh, what can you tell me about this gun? And they'd be like, honestly, dude, I just work here. I don't really know.
Was that small retail or large retail?
That's large retail.
Okay.
That's what makes it disappointing. Because if it's a mom and pop shop, I don't expect you to know all the specs on it, especially if you're a growing mom and pop shop. If you're a large retail and somebody goes in, and obviously, hang on, I'll get to you in a second. But it's like if you go to a large retail shop and it's like, obviously you're not going to know every spec on the gun, but it's like if I ask you like brands on the gun or if it's wired to the rear, if it's wired to the front, and you're just like, I'm just here to get a paycheck, dude. Like, don't ask me these stupid questions. You know, like if you're just passive, or if you're leaned on the counter. A good example. This is a real steel example. When I went to buy my AR, I went to a shop in California, and the dude was just like, yeah, you need this hardcore operator gun. Otherwise, any other gun's just stupid and lame. And it's like, I'm gonna buy this gun and I'm gonna change out the parts anyway. And it's like, I'll end up saving $1,000. Yeah, whatever. Just whatever. That gun's not Chris Costa approved. And it's like, I didn't like the environment, so I didn't go back. Nor did I buy a gun from there. So it's like you gotta set the right vibe for your customers.
Yeah. I've shopped at large retail walk-in stores and had very mixed experiences. I've gone to some stores and gotten some staff that are just awful, and I don't like them. Then I go back another time, and I have a really great experience with the staff members. So when you're talking about scale, I think with the large retailers, since they have more employees, there's more room for error, and also more room for them to hire people that don't know as much.
Mm-hmm.
They're just there to, collect a paycheck, like you claim.
But what is an interview? Like, how are you just gonna blindly hire people?
How many airsoft specialists are there out there that are willing to risk their reputation to be airsoft salespeople?
That's a tricky question. It's kind of like going to Best Buy. You work in the electronics department. You have to know the basics of laptops and then keep up to date on stuff.
But if you go to a restaurant and there's something on the menu, you expect the chef to know how to make it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's like at our shop, every staff member there is expert on specific things, but have like general knowledge of everything we sell. For example, my manager is like the head technician, so he does all the managerial paperwork, a lot of it, and he does a lot of the modifications and tech work during the week when it's slow. I'm more of like a sales-oriented person, so I basically, when it's slow, will look through guns that we have on the wall, learn more things about them, ask players that have purchased the guns their experiences with them, so I can pass it on to the next consumer. I also sweep the floors.
I guess I just have a higher expectation if you're a big name company to fulfill your expectation. Otherwise, what sets you apart from a mom and pop shop? Just the amount of money you make?
It's like the difference between going to like Walmart and like a boutique shop. Like the boutique shop's smaller and carries less things, but the people are usually more knowledgeable about it. That's at least been my experience. I know there's exceptions. A buddy of mine that works at Airsoft GI is like super knowledgeable and really awesome, but he works on the phones, so you can't see him in the walk-in store.
It comes down to passion. A lot of people, like when I worked at the little combat quarters, there was three of us, like three main people, and then a couple other people that help, and how I saw it, it's like, if I don't know the product, then I'm not going to convince that person to buy it. Otherwise, you're going to go somewhere else and buy it, and then that's like, I don't get a paycheck. In a lot of places, people just don't care. And it's like, I had to keep up to date on the VFC, the Star, the Classic Armies, the JLS when it came out. Oh, that was, and we would take everything apart. So it's just like, and I remember working on the Star FNC, and I was like the only one in the area that could work on it. I'm like, oh, this is pretty awesome. And because I just have that passion to work on stuff, so then when people come in like, hey, is this gun good? I'm like, it's good because you have like how the pop-up unit is built into the gearbox. People are like, oh, that's really cool. And I could, like, when the people come like at your store and talk about buckings or whatever, if they want to just say, I have Saturday afternoon, I'm going to shoot the shit at this store, people would do that. And I could just ramble, and I had this huge following of people. And then when we go play Airsoft on the weekends, it builds
community.
Community.
Now, when I say shoot the shit and like hang out, I don't mean go to a store, ask to see a gun, and play with it for like half an hour, talk to the sales guy while there's a crowd starting to form during a rush on a Saturday afternoon, and say, all right, this is awesome, this is the gun I want to get. And then I'm like, all right, cool, I'll ring you up over here. And they go, oh no, I'm going to go home and order it online. Like, not only does everyone that was waiting for upwards of like 30 minutes, one time I had a customer that was literally there for like 45 minutes. Everyone was just glaring at them. I felt so awkward about it. I felt really apologetic about it. I did my best to ease the customer's tension. I think this was around like the holiday season, so we're doing like promotions with hats and T-shirts, so I just gave them hats and T-shirts while they waited and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just, it's really unfair to the person who's working there, because we're people, even though we work in retail and we're just basically slaves that carry product to you. Like, we're people, you're wasting our time, you're wasting the times of the people waiting there, and at the end of the day, like, everyone's just like, cool, you're my favorite customer that comes in here and wastes all my time. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. I really try to not do that when I'm shopping at other stores, not only in Airsoft but in anything. If I'm going to get a pair of jeans, I'm not going to spend an hour picking out jeans. I'm going to walk in, buy the jeans I want, and leave.
Well, that's how guys shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does really bug me.
Shop smart.
Yeah, when people will like nitpick or compare the two, and like, oh, is this gun better, this gun, and then go buy somewhere else. It's like, I'm spending my time helping you, and it's like, yes, as a salesperson, that's our job to help inform them, but then it's kind of like, it's like a farmer planting and watering the crops, and then someone just takes it, and you're like,
it's more like the crop commits suicide.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Another thing too is like buyers, a lot of it falls on the buyers. Just like earlier, there's bad sellers, there's bad buyers. Like a lot of buyers ask such broad questions. Which gun is the best gun? Which gun will I like the best? Everybody plays different. Milsimmer, Speed Softers, the Weekend Warriors.
World War II veteran enthusiasts.
Whatever.
They exist somewhere.
I've seen them.
No, yeah. But it's like what gun's good for me? Like, is this a good gun? I can't tell you what a good gun is. Like me, I can't run around with bolt, rifles. I'm gonna run around. I like being up in people's face, close quarters, what have you. And it's like, so I wouldn't buy like. And also, I'm a very, very short guy, so it's like I'm not gonna buy like some massive gun and run around with it. So like, when some guy walks in there and he's like, "What gun would be best for me?" It's like I couldn't help him.
M4.
Like, it's like, and then but there are shops that will have an answer to that. It's like, if you have an answer to what the best gun is, you're probably a very biased person. Like, I really couldn't say, well, this gun's gonna be the best, and it's like, what's your price range? How often do you play? What style do you play?
Mm-hmm.
Like all of those are factors. And I guess a lot too is buyer responsibility. Like whenever I was talking about getting the AK, I researched it, made sure there was parts for it, because there's a lot of guns on the market that people really want to buy. But
the 105 AK?
Yeah.
Okay.
Called me, asked my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are like really into like a specific gun, and there's no aftermarket parts, and they don't do the research. They buy it, something breaks, and then they're just angry at the world because the shop sold them this gun, but it failed to inform them that that there's no replacement parts on it. So it kind of falls onto the buyer too. Like, I did research, like, as you know, because I was annoying you. I was like, well, wait a minute, well, maybe this, well, maybe that, and it's like, because it's my money, I'm not just gonna run out and be like, that M4 is really cool, and then buy it without any research, because then I'm going to slowly learn things over time. And even after research, you may learn things that you didn't know. But a lot of it, too, take the time, like Google search. Like, I know Brian gets it a lot, I get it a lot. Like, they'll ask questions that could literally, you're taking up people's time. Maybe our time's not the most precious or whatever, but you could spend the 2 minutes of your time asking the question to somebody on Google. And like, look it up. Look up the specific gun and read several different sources so you don't accidentally fall into a biased review or something. And look up several different sources and be like, oh, okay, because one person's video, that person could be handed a gun and have no experience with airsoft and just try to sell it to you. So they may in the video just tell you how awesome the gun is with no experience in airsoft whatsoever, just because somebody said, tell everyone how awesome this gun is, here it goes. And it's like,
and that time saved is more time operating on the BB battlefield.
And the cool thing about his super stressful, the gun he's talking about is a GHK. He wanted the AKM, but then he switched to the 105. Basically, he did all the research and looked online, various forums. Like, my phone's blowing up every day with all this stuff. And instead of ordering online, I went to Airsplat, picked it up, and test fired, and I'm like, okay, cool, purchased it, done. So instead of, because he lives so far away from it, and I'm like right there, so that's why. Otherwise, he would have done it.
yeah.
But it's just kind of like, he did the research, so he's informed on the purchase, and he's like, this is the one I want. They didn't have the AKM, so basically I'm like, did you want this? Because like their website said they have it in stock, but they didn't. But they had the 105, and I called him and he said,
I cried.
yeah, I sent him a picture. He's like, oh, fat. And I'm like, okay.
What does that mean?
Anyways, but the fact that I was able...
It's old people stuff, bogey. Continue.
Yeah, sure.
But the fact that I was able to kind of be like, take his advice of what he wanted, test fire it, make sure it works fine, and then drop it off, and he's super happy. Instead of him ordering it and getting it, and he's like, it's broken.
Awesome.
What happened?
Rack's charging, handle gun explodes.
And two, that's another cool thing that I'm starting to see on like the Facebook pages, that there are helpful groups. You know, I joined, I was added to a GHK specific AK group, and the people on there, I was able to ask my questions, and people were like, oh, this is cool, based on their experience. And, you know, on that too, if you just jump into one group and you base your experience off it, you're going to have a bad time, because there was another gas blowback group I was in, and everyone was super elitist. I was like, what do you guys think about that? Garbage. M4s are best, master race. And it was like super biased opinions. I got no help. And people were like, yeah, AEGs are worthless crap. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. I want to know about the specific gun. Like, don't waste my time with your elitist attitude. I need to know things. Like, and that's why, like, you can't just... I say Google search, but don't just go to the first source you find. Like it's like doing research for a school project. Like, you're not just gonna go to Wikipedia, which can be edited by people, and you're just gonna be like, there's a reason why Wikipedia is not an acceptable scholarly source. It's because Joe Schmo can go on there and be like, haha, troll, and put like false information on there. But it's like, you do various searches so you don't end up on a biased search. I ended up on a Canadian page, I ended up on all sorts of pages, and it was like all threads of the AKs, and like I got mixed reviews on it, and then I started to see trends in reviews, and for the most part people say, modify the mag, modify this, and the gun is good to go. And that seemed to be the consensus, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
Consensus?
But on most of the pages, so it's like, I'll go with this, you know, it seems to be, you know, everybody's in agreement here, so... That's another cool thing too, is work with the community, you know? Same with, in that all doubles over into shops. Invest into your business, work on the community. You give to them, they give back to you.
If you think we missed anything, go ahead and comment below, and we can maybe do like a part 2. So yes, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And don't really trash talk the stores. You know, give the stores that do a good job, give them a thumbs up, and give them a shout out. Let more people know of the good stores and go to them. Don't talk about the bad stores, because there's no point of that.
And constructive criticism for the videos is always welcome. As we said from the beginning, you know, we're gonna base the content off what you give us. So a lot of the questions, the feedback has been super helpful. So thank you for that.
See you guys next time.
See you guys.
On WTF Airsoft.
Stay classy. Flea likes
Flea,
this.
get in here.
Flea, do you like this?
Say it.
Say it.
To Flea like this.
Yeah!
And I